With the WINN FM News, I am Yulana Weeks. Locally, police lay charges against the drivers in recent vehicular crashes. Christmas came in January for Shakia Charles, Flo's grand prize winner. The details and more straight ahead.
As Donald Trump assumes office as the 47th President of the United States, Caribbean leaders are being urged not to panic over the talk of mass deportations. With Trump now sworn in, concerns are rising that the Caribbean could become a destination for deportees from the United States, particularly those whose home countries refuse to accept them. As part of this approach, the third-party countries, including the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Panama, were targeted to receive these deportees.
So here's what's interesting. They cannot deport anyone without the country agreeing. Okay?
The current U.S. administration is focusing on sanctuary cities in New York and Chicago, where large Caribbean population reside, to deport criminals and individuals who have entered the country illegally. Nana Gyamfi, executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, emphasized,
if you don't want your people to be deported, then stop agreeing. Stop signing these paperwork, and immediately comes across your desk, you're like, yeah, you're going ahead and signing it and letting people go. Particularly when it has to do with people who have been criminalized. Because we know people sometimes plead to a petty theft because they just want to get back to work. You know, they're not going to get any jail time. They think it's easy for them. They've been wrongfully accused, but, you know, they don't have time to fight the system. You know that if you're a consulate, if you're an ambassador in the United States from the Caribbean. So you should not be going along with it. That is the best way to protect countries from having all of these folks being deported into the country.
Prime Minister Dr. Terence True recently clarified that St. Kitts and Nevis has not been approached by the Trump administration to accept third-party deportees. However, policy could have ripple effects moving forward for small island states within the region dealing with high crime problems.
We have all these ways to throw wrenches into the game, and we're going to be depending on our leaders to do that. If they can take our resources, right? If they can use our people as nurses and in these other positions, we get to follow our people and we get to follow the money that they're taking from our resources. It's an issue of reparations, and we should think of it that way.
Do you believe this is a slap in the face when Trump suggests that countries like the Bahamas, Grenada, Panama, Turks and Caicos should accept third-party deportees from countries like those in Latin America, Honduras, Mexico, China, who are not accepting their nationals back?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it is a way for the United States to try to escape its international obligations under the asylum law that the U.S. has signed on to. So they want our countries to be co-conspirators in their violations of law and human rights. And our countries, believe it or not, for folks out there, are so about human rights, right? That doesn't mean we're perfect in what we do, but we have human rights commissions. We take those commissions seriously. They do not have human rights commission in the U.S. They don't take human rights seriously. And it's made obvious when Donald Trump says, I'm going to have your country violate the human rights of other people, and you're going to go along with it. And so we should reject that in the same way that we've seen Caribbean countries really stand up to Western powers, really start to look at themselves as having their own destiny and their own agenda. We need to add this as well.
Traffic infractions continue to be a major problem in the Federation, as reflected in the high number of fatal accidents and tickets reported last year. During an appearance on WINN FM, Sergeant Sophia Henry revealed that the Federation recorded more than 1,500 accidents over the year.
For last year, we had 1,345 accidents. That's just in St. Kitts alone. In Nevis, we had 436 accidents for 2024. And out of the 1,345 plus 439, we had 8 fatality within that.
That's
and within
federal,
that
right?
8, yes, within that 8 fatality, we had 13 persons lost their lives. Yes, 13 persons.
She emphasized the dangers of speeding, stating that it remains one of the leading contributors to road accidents.
And I always talk about speeding, and speeding can kill. Even if it doesn't result in a fatality, the impact of a speeding car crashing into another vehicle make the collision much worse. Remember, excess speeding, when you have that speed, you don't have full control of that vehicle if you have to stop suddenly. You cannot control that vehicle if you have excess speed. And remember, the speed limit in St. Kitts and also Nevis in a built-up area is 20 miles per hour. In a non-built-up area is 40 miles. Nowhere in St. Kitts is far. Nowhere.
On the topic of traffic tickets, the police issued 6,720 tickets with 4,278 paid, while 96 remain unpaid. Additionally, 146 cases are currently pending. Providing further details, Henry highlighted that 936 of these tickets were issued for speeding, with 886 on St. Kitts and 48 in Nevis. She also reminded drivers that speeding tickets can be very expensive since fines increase for every mile per hour a driver exceeds the limit.
A speeding ticket can cost up to $950. It can cost up to that. Because every 10 miles over the speed limit, the first is $250. And every 10 miles over that is $100 extra. Yes. So why people want to speed?
I don't know. Ask them.
Why you want to put money in the government pocket when you can just drive normal, drive with the speed limit?
The sergeant encouraged all road users to exercise caution and adhere to traffic regulations to prevent accidents and reduce the strain on law enforcement resources.
Since we got the traffic lights, you think we have more accidents than when we didn't? When we had to show compassion to each other and pay attention to the road? You think?
I wouldn't say that because last year, year 4, we had 1488 in St. Kitts alone. And last year we had 1345, although we had more fatality, road fatality.
An omnibus operator in St. Kitts was arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving after 5 persons were killed in a vehicular crash on December 11, 2024 on the main road in New Guinea. According to an official press release from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, quote, the police have laid 6 charges against Jamie Herbert of Newton Ground, St. Kitts. On January 17, 2025, Mr. Herbert was charged with 5 counts of causing death by dangerous driving and 1 charge of causing injury by wanton driving, unquote. Mr. Herbert's charges were laid at the Sandy Point police station. The crash victims included Rosina Herbert, Ian Jules, Belinda Paul, Dijon Davis, and Malik Rollins. The charges laid against Jamie Herbert came days after the arrest and charges against Glenkeith Richardson following the January 11, 2025 traffic collision that claimed the life of 4-month-old baby Mikhairi Edwards. Police have been cracking down on motorists to be more mindful on the roads as there was an increase in serious traffic accidents in the Federation in 2024 and a continued trend in early 2025. Other than the tragic death of the 4-month-old baby, there was a serious motorcycle accident in Nevis on January 17, which left the driver with critical injuries, including head trauma, fractures and broken bones, and the pillion rider with minor injuries such as cuts and bruises. Motorists, passengers and pedestrians alike have been warned by police to exercise the necessary safety precautions to keep themselves and other road users safe.
Persons should take consideration for other road users, not for yourself alone. Remember when you're learning to drive, remember all those things that the instructor taught you. Put all of those back into driving when you're on the road. Not just because you was learning to get a license. Remember, the road is not for you alone. You have to share the road with other person. Be considerate. Be courteous when you're driving. Have patience. Because as they said, the life you save might be your very own. Or it might be a family member of your own. Be careful on the road. Breaking your speeding habit isn't just good for in your wallet or driving record. It also helps make the road a safer place for everyone. In addition, driving slow, you can make roads safer.
Shakia Charles, a resident of Challengers Village, St. Kitts, walked away with a brand new living room makeover following the Flow SKN Christmas Grand Prize giveaway on January 17, 2025. Charles was one of 4 who qualified for the final draw. She picked lucky number 1 from a bag, which linked her to mystery box number 1. She screamed and laughed in amazement when she pulled the grand prize out. Charles's win was supported with loud cheers from family and customers at the Flow 4th Street branch, St. Kitts. Charles, ahead of the draw, stated that she was 90 to 95% confident that she would capture the grand prize, and she did. Speaking to WINN FM on the sidelines of the event, Charles said she signed up for broadband internet from Flow during its Christmas promotion, which qualified her for entry into the draw. She said she would always choose Flow.
I feel amazing. I feel great. I can't even explain it. I just feel good. I had Flow for a while, but I just joined the internet family. I had Flow phone since I know Mr. Grab a phone. But we're going to see where it goes from here. But I'll definitely advertise Flow because they're always giving back, and that's why the Flow is just on 4th Street. When you're passing by, just come in and see what they have to offer.
The living room makeover includes a furniture set with rugs and accessories, a fully painted living room, and a 65-inch smart TV. According to Flow, customers who signed up for broadband or signed up for postage and paid at least 1 bill in full and on time were put into a list where 4 finalists were randomly selected for the final draw. The other 3 finalists, Roger Bishop and Esther Samuel, and the eldest of them, Claudia Williams, 81 years old, each received 3 months of free service from Flow. Regionally,
people are set to arrive from various parts of the world for Carnival, including North America, heightening the probability for the spread of the influenza virus. As such, the ministry is ramping up vaccination initiatives for influenza A, as is usually done, especially with the more vulnerable in mind, namely children, pregnant women, the elderly, and the immunocompromised, such as those with chronic diseases. Health Minister Terence Dialsing says there is an uptick of viruses in circulation, highlighting 5: respiratory syncytial virus, COVID, HMPV, influenza A or H1N1, and influenza B or H3N2.
We are trying to do 2 things. 1, prevent deaths. I will tell you for calendar year 2024, we have had 8 deaths due to influenza. 8. We want to prevent deaths. We want to prevent overcrowding at our accident and emergency departments and in our hospitals.
In terms of the response to the vaccination initiatives, Dialsing provides some statistics.
For this flu season, we have vaccinated roughly 18,864 persons, but we need to vaccinate more. We need to vaccinate a lot more. We need to get up to about 50,000, which is where we reached last year.
Apart from the paddock, the drive is taking place at Gulf City Mall, the Diwali Nagar, and all the Eastern Regional Health Authority facilities for a 2-week period. Dialsing outlines the rapid onset of influenza A, which he says can lead to deaths as in as little as 24 to 48 hours, further distinguishing between that and the common cold as he clears up a misconception.
The vaccine does not protect you against the common cold, which does not cause death, which does not cause you to be hospitalized. What we are vaccinating against is influenza A, which has the potential to cause death.
The symptoms include body pains and severe fatigue. Roland Henry and his wife Monica Henry are in their 80s. They came out to be vaccinated.
What was the process like?
It was comfortable. There was no hassle at all. And in the past, it's the same way.
Every year we have it done.
And it's more convenient here, especially on a Sunday.
The timing was right for Richard Liquai.
Yes.
Very smooth, very smooth. Quick shop. In and out in 5 minutes.
Do you usually take the influenza vaccine?
No, I don't. No.
Is this your first time?
My first time.
It was a 2-in-1 deal for Simon Delphi, as the NWRHA has combined vaccination with prostate-specific antigen or PSA testing being done in separate suites. He describes the process.
Seamless, no problems, so smooth from transition from the prostate across here was pretty cool, so it was good for me.
So it was a blood test you did for the PSA?
Yes, a simple blood test into your fingers, nothing major, but a small, quick test into the prick of the finger, and that was it, that was okay.
And as we were there with flu vaccines readily available, why waste it?
All right, guys, so I'm about to get my influenza vaccine. I usually take it. I did miss about a year or two, and so I took this chance to, just get the opportunity. It was a very quick process. They just took some information, and there, we're all done.
Our cameraman, Shiva Parasram, followed suit. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
St. Lucia's population is shrinking, according to alarming data in the 2024 General Health Summary by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. The report shows that women of childbearing age are not having enough children to replace the current population, raising concerns about the nation's demographic future.
We continue to note reductions in the birth rate. A total of 1,619 births were recorded for 2023, representing a crude birth rate of 9.4 per 1,000 women of childbearing age. This is a 9.6% decrease from the previous year of 2022. The total fertility rate per woman of childbearing age is 1.28 compared to 1.58 in 2015. The total fertility rate for population replacement is 2.1.
Dr. Belmar-George noted some other eye-opening statistics in 2024.
A total of 14 cases of leptospirosis were reported in 2024, of which 86% were male. This represents a 40% increase over last year. No cases of malaria were recorded. 3 cases of methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus were recorded for 2024. St. Lucia has noted 1 new case of leprosy, which represents a 93% decrease from 2023 to 2024. A national action plan towards the elimination of leprosy was implemented during 2024.
The toll of crime and violence, a surge in motor vehicle collisions, and rising non-communicable diseases heavily burdened St. Lucia's healthcare system in 2024.
Chronic non-communicable diseases continue to be a significant source of mortality in St. Lucia, accounting for over 75% of all deaths, with cancers, cerebrovascular diseases or strokes, heart disease, and diabetes dominating as the top 4 causes of death, respectively, for the last 10 years. Despite this, males are losing more of their potential benefit to society due to assault, land transport accidents, and chronic lower respiratory disease, specifically COPD, due to smoking. Females are losing more of their potential to society due to cancers, breast and cervical in particular, and perinatal conditions.
St. Lucia's 2024 General Health Summary revealed a drastic reduction in COVID-19 cases, 1 new case of tuberculosis, and a 14% increase in gastroenteritis. Health officials also recorded 22 new HIV diagnoses, with 64% of cases among males, bringing the total number of people living with HIV in St. Lucia to 982.
We continue to note low levels of activity among our population.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George warned that these escalating issues remain a serious concern for health officials, demanding urgent attention.
Internationally,
he was sworn in after surviving impeachments, criminal indictments, and 2 assassination attempts. Donald Trump became America's 47th president on Monday. He got to work quickly after the ceremony, having announced his plans to sign a slew of executive orders. Addressing supporters, he pledged to change the country for the better.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world.
Among the orders he has pledged to sign are implementing a mass deportation program, ramping up oil drilling, and hiking tariffs for Canada, Mexico, and China. Due to cold weather, Trump's ceremony was moved indoors to the Capitol Rotunda, the first time that has happened in 4 decades.
Dozens of supporters of South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol were facing charges on Monday after storming a court building. Protesters, some blasting lines of police with fire extinguishers or wielding broken barricades, rampaged through the Seoul Western District Court on Sunday. That was after a court ruling that allowed for Yoon to be formally processed for detention, including having his mugshot taken, part of a criminal investigation into whether he committed insurrection. Last week, Yoon became the first South Korean president to be arrested. That was over his short-lived martial law declaration. Out of 90 people who were detained after the clashes, Yonhap news agency reported that police plan to keep 66 in custody on charges of trespass, obstruction of official duty, and assaulting police officers. South Korea's acting justice minister said other offenders were still being identified. Authorities said security was being beefed up at the Seoul detention center where Yoon is being detained, and at the Constitutional Court where an impeachment trial is being held. Separately on Monday, Yoon refused to appear for questioning at the Corruption Investigation Office for High-Ranking Officials, or CIO, which is leading the criminal probe. He has repeatedly refused to cooperate, with his lawyers arguing that his arrest and the warrant issued for his detention are illegal, and that the CIO has no legal authority to conduct the investigation. Speaking through his lawyers, Yoon said he found Sunday's rampage shocking and unfortunate, and called on people to express their opinions peacefully. But he also said that he understood many were feeling rage and unfairness, and asked the police to take a tolerant position.